All right, so you guys basically just finished up the athlete assessment, the movement side. So that's great. We like kind of knowing what are your movement limitations, you know, what are some things to focus on that we can kind of correct. But we do need to know from a training standpoint, what are some limitations in your training bucket or your strength bucket? Because we just need to know kind of where you're at. It's not like, doesn't need to be a really crazy formal assessment. We don't do these 1RM, big bench, big deadlift, big squat things. We just want to know kind of, you know, a couple movements that we can kind of find out where are you at, just so I kind of have a good insertion point of where to start you. So the first one of the best measurements of power, and that's simple to do, is a broad jump or a horizontal jump. So basically, our standard for people is to jump your height. So you guys are 6 foot-ish?
5'11", 5'1". Yep.
All right, but NBA roster 6'3". So the goal is initially to jump your height. If we see that there's a big limitation or lack of that, then that just lets us know from an explosive standpoint we might be able to work on that. Okay. This is all assuming already that someone's been screened, moves well, and things like that. So say you didn't move well, or we irritated your hip labral tear a lot in the movement screen, we wouldn't even go to this step. Right. Okay. So this is all under the assumption that someone moves really well. So that's something to clear off with you people.
Out of curiosity.
Right.
We're cyclists, not power athletes. What do you know what a combine athlete would do, like an NFL combine athlete would do in something like this?
I'd say it would be north of 9.5 feet.
Wow. Okay, let's see where cyclists end up on this.
Right on. So the cues for this is your toes would be, let's do this. Toes would be, I'm going to have you maybe jump here in front of the line. Would that be okay?
Yeah, works for me.
Cool. All right, so you can use your arms. I want you to use everything you've got. I didn't tell you this. There's a follow-up test after we do the normal broad jump. You do the same jump, but with your hands on your hips.
Oh, wow.
That's a secondary jump.
So as a tip for people, what some cues? Use your arms?
Yeah, so basically as much arm speed as you can do, throw out, and then jump and land.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so actually before you go, John, Chris, hand me that stick right there, that yellow one.
Just watch out, I'm going to hit you. I think I'm pretty safe.
So the idea is I need you to land on your feet. I'm going to measure at your heel. Yep. You can fall forward, and if I feel like you're going to fall, I'm going to grab you.
Yep.
Cool. On you. Cool. And we got 6'10". 6'10".
That's the number.
So I'll just do this.
Okay.
Man, it's intense. Yes. All right, you got 7 flat. Okay, so follow-up test. So basically, kind of first checkbox was you guys jumped your height. You're not 6'11" or 7 feet tall.
Nope.
So we just know that from a very base level power standpoint, your power bucket is adequate.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean we can't get better, but we know where we need to be.
Exactly.
Okay, the second follow-up jump is, so we noticed in the first jump, he did use his arms. This time, you're not using your arms. You're going to be less.
My height? I got to jump my height?
Nope. You're going to be, so in theory, we want that to be 80% of the number that he just jumped.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So that the last 20% in theory comes from the arms.
Okay.
So if
what
it's...
is that? 6'10" is...
You're the engineers. I'm not doing it.
2 inches, so I need to jump... 64. 64 inches.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Ooh.
It's goofy.
Yeah, it is goofy. Let's do it. Oh, that was good.
Good, now heels down. Good, so we got 5'7".
67.
Woo! And we got 5'8". Do I need to go now?
Yes.
All right.
You want to do it?
I'll just jump. I'll just jump once.
Oh.
So 7'9", 7'8". Not bad in the khakis.
Yeah. Nice. And to give you an idea, so the combine guys go to here.
Yeah. Yeah. So the main takeaway for cyclists is just it's a very broad test that they can look at, and it's very easy to measure. You could even just, if you didn't even have a measuring stick, you lay down, put a cone down where your head was off a wall, and measure it that way. Really simple.
Okay.
So that's test 1. Test 2 is going to be a reverse lunge. So again, this would be a single leg test, or what we're really looking for is we're looking for strength asymmetries. I'm not as concerned about what the weight is. I'm looking at if the weight is heavy, do you have a smooth movement between each foot? So, excuse me, you're going to do 8 reps, John, on your right leg, and then 8 on the left. So in theory, we want to find out what is your ceiling for strength there. Okay. So you stay nice and tall. You're going to step back with, let's say, your left leg. Good. Scoot back a little bit, your whole body.
Yeah, the whole come back.
Yeah. Good. And a nice step back. Good. So obviously we're looking qualitatively. Does his hip shift back? We're seeing some shifting there. Come back through. So good. Think you can squeak out 8?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going then.
Let's prove it.
Good. And he is, there are some, coordination things that we'd work on and things like that. But this lets us know there's some strength issues from left to right. He'll report back what he felt a little better on. There's some pelvic shifting. There's some things.
Got a lot going on here.
Right. Yeah. So, this actually was a pretty good weight to grab for him and address. So down the road, I would retest his weight on this one. This wouldn't be what I would train him on in the gym. This is a test weight. I know he's safe. I know he moves really well, so I'm good with letting him figure this out right now.
Okay.
So, whew. All right. So I'd say that was actually a pretty good test for you.
That was a good test. Are we allowed to pull out excuses? I did a 4-hour ride yesterday.
Oh. So your legs should be nice and hypertonic and ready to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. And so really with this, we're looking for a little bit athletic lean in the chest. We're looking for just a nice vertical movement in the upper body. Knee just touches to the ground. Some people might want a pad behind. This is just a good lower body test, just to see base level, what is your strength. It's nowhere near a maximal test because it's 8 reps, and lets us know does the person have a strength discrepancy between left and right, and just lets us know kind of coming in the door what would be a good. Where do we start someone weight-wise? Yep. Cyclists are very numbers-based, so we need to give them some place to start. Good. That looks pretty good to me.
Left is weaker than right.
Left is weaker than right, qualitatively?
Yep.
Interesting. Cool. All right, rack those over there for me. Cool. All right. Movement 3 is going to be, it's our farmer's carry test. Okay, so the point of the farmer's carry test is human beings were made to pick up stuff and move with them. Very rarely were we ever meant to pick up something and then just drop it. So we were given hands and grip strength to essentially pick something up and move with it. So the metric for our test is we want to see globally, your global strength is grabbing a percentage of your body weight. We're going to test 75% for your guys' body weight, and we're not going to demo the whole test, but the idea is can you maintain that posture for 90 seconds walking in a figure-8 path on a grass or a straightaway. Okay. So we're looking for 90 seconds, 75% of your body weight. So we did your math for a second. What was your weight?
152 or 454. So call it 150.
75% of that? 120-ish?
125-ish, roughly, yeah.
Right. So then basically we would split that weight up into 2, and which we have right here is our 6262. So again, nice and easy. Provided someone has no back pathology or things like that, we would have them go ahead and squat that down and go get it, and then stand up tall, and then that's nice and heavy, and then they would walk for it. So I would say figure that cone right there, John. So a couple things we're looking for is they report they're 5'11", they need to stay 5'11" the whole time. Grip strength, we're looking for a lot of lateral sway. We're looking for his hand slipping, things like that. So I would say that's pretty good. So have you rack it in here. So we would want him to cover, around 250 feet in 90 seconds. That's our strict test.
Okay.
But for you guys, I just want you to feel how this feels.
And you said 75% of our body weight. Is there other rules for different athletes or different sizes?
It's a general strength one. I think for a cyclist, that would be the strongest I would need you to get. If you were a different type of athlete, I might make that requirement higher, like closer to your body weight. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So I would slow you down and walk more normal.
Oh, you want me to walk normal? I thought it was a distance test.
No.
Got a bit of a penguin going on there.
Yeah, a little. We need Morgan Freeman over here, March of the Penguins. So a couple things I would actually talk to Chris about is there is some lateral movement in the bells, so I would want there to be a little thin path that I can almost slip in there, right? Yep, perfect.
Okay.
And again, set that down. So again, if someone is in a situation where they have access to some heavier weights, just giving them an idea of their global strength or core is how far, walking with load. And our spine does compress, and it's a safe movement to do, and that's a lot of core. That's all core basically, and your grip, of course.
Okay.
So that would be something that we would measure time and then distance and obviously your weight in relation to your body weight.
Okay.
So in theory, let's just say you guys didn't pass that. For example, say you were under my 90-second threshold, then when we would retest, we would obviously, did our strength training elicit you to go up to the next weight. So if you hit 75% of body weight for 90 seconds, we would then test you up another weight, and that would be the way we would go. But again, with cyclist, from a cyclist perspective, we want to kind of, what is the bare or minimum effective dose to get to the best effect? We would want you to, at a minimum, be able to carry that 75% for 90 seconds, and that would be kind of, we're good. We can move on and focus on other things. Yeah. So those would be kind of the 3 or 4 tests that I would look at. Initially, there are more power metrics and vert jumps and some things like that. The last one we were going to talk about is the push-up one. So you want to be my model for that real quick? Yeah. Yeah, so set up on that push-up. So this is obviously a very standard movement that everyone does all the time. We just want to show that I do everything, our body weight movements in the rules of tens. So I would question one, but hey, Chris, do you think you can do 10 push-ups? And you might say, yes. Sure. So I would assess, could he do 10 push-ups? And then I'd let him rest, and then go and recover for me for a second. Then I would add weight to him in 10-pound increments, because the second he starts going over 10, 11, 12, 15, I'm turning it into a different test. Right. So if so I would, he would say yes. I would then grab maybe 30, 40 pounds, and I would add weight to you. Okay. So at a minimum, I would expect the cyclist to do 10 clean push-ups. So now we're going to set up and show you what a clean push-up looks like. So get ready to do it. Good, and come on up. So we're looking for a universal from his ankle and to his shoulder to moving uniformly, and then coming back up. He's doing a good job of not showing me any lordotic or lower back curve. So show me a bad one, bad back. Yeah, that's making that harder. Do this way. Go this way. Yep. So this is what you tend to see a lot with people with lack of core issues. Yeah. So I would say pull your belly button to the sky, and that would fix that. Okay. Good. So that would be, so test one is, can a cyclist do 10 clean push-ups with that whole kind of lever-looking movement there? If they can, then of course they can add weight. But, and again, we want to, show, do they just have an adequate level of strength? And if they're under that requirement, then that would be the insertion point to start. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Very cool. So I think we'll break out, and then we'll do our little workout.